Aloha, welcome to Community Chat. We're here today talking to Catherine No, one of the most recognizable women leaders in Hawaii. So it's only fitting that we speak to Catherine during Women's History Month, which is March. Can you tell us about your career, how you got started in business and particularly financial services?
My rise to the top at a community bank is not the typical path that a banker takes going up the ranks of a financial institution. So I started out in private law practice in Dallas and then in Silicon Valley. The largest client of my law firm in Silicon Valley asked me to come in to be their general counsel and to start the legal department for the organization. And over time, I took on more and more divisions for that company. So by the time I left the organization, I was overseeing all the risks and operations divisions of the company.
Wow.
After that, I joined 4 other guys, and we founded our own venture capital firm to invest in Silicon Valley and in China. And it was after that that I came to Central Pacific Bank in 2010. And I will say, albeit it was a circuitous route to get here, growing up on the East Coast, being in Dallas, Silicon Valley, and then in China. But now that I am here in Hawaii, I am here to stay in this really beautiful and wonderful place.
Yeah, great. Well, we're happy to have you and grateful to have you. Was there a pivotal moment in your career when you decided, hey, this is really what I want to do with my life?
If there were a pivotal thing in my career, I would say is I had the guidance of a lot of great mentors who really made the difference for me. And that is why I'm so passionate about helping other women in their career paths and helping them along the way.
The theme of Women's History Month is women who advocate for equity, diversity, and inclusion. My question is, what steps an organization can take to ensure that women's voices are heard and valued in the decision-making process?
The first is making sure that women have a seat at the table. So that starts at the committee level, but then all the way up to the board of directors for a company. A woman may not always be the first to say, I am qualified and I want to be on this committee, or even in that committee meeting, may not be the first to raise her hand to speak. So I think it's helpful to call upon the women when people see that that's the case.
Sometimes women have unique challenges when it comes to presenting themselves at work. Can you tell us about that and how to overcome it?
Yes, Brandt. So what you're alluding to is what a lot of us in women's circles call the imposter syndrome. And that is fear and insecurity that at some point we're going to be found out, that we're not really as effective as we first appear to be. So the advice I would give to young women who experience that imposter syndrome is first to know that so many of us feel that. And then the second is to think back to the successes. Remind yourself of the successes that you've had in your career, and that will give you that boost of confidence and address that insecurity that you're feeling.
And women supporting women is important. Does CPB have any programs in place to foster and further the role of women in business?
We do, and something I'm really proud to talk about, it's the We by Rising Tide program for women entrepreneurs. And this is at no charge to the women. It's something that the bank hosts for these women. It's a 10-week, rather rigorous program for cohorts of 20 women. And we provide training and presentations on skills that are so critical for women to ramp their companies to the next level. So it might be on the topics of financial management or strategic planning or marketing. A key component of this program is the networking. It's the opportunity for the women to connect with each other. And in fact, at every session, we host a dinner for the women to get to know each other better.
We talked about before how critical it is for young professionals to get involved in community service, nonprofit boards and so forth. What advice would you give to women who are maybe a little apprehensive about getting involved because maybe they feel like they aren't qualified, and what benefit would they get from it?
There are gaps today in terms of women on corporate boards. One way that women can get the experience and confidence to sit on corporate boards is by starting to sit on nonprofit boards. And the advice I would give to women thinking about that is to identify organizations whose missions resonate with the women. And so, for example, for me, education is very important. And so I gravitate to organizations where education is part of their mission. So, for example, Hawaii Community Foundation is focused on education. And so I have chosen to play a role in that organization.
And maybe in summary, is there any general advice or lessons learned from your own career that you'd like to pass on?
I thought about this. I knew this question was coming. The first is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So to stretch beyond, to realize your full potential, because we're not going to realize what we can do, and we'll shortchange ourselves on opportunities and things that we otherwise can do. You know, I will say over my career, I've beat myself up over little things, mistakes, missteps that you might or others might view as small, but yet I've forgotten to celebrate some of the successes, some of the bigger things. And so the advice I would give to women is be kind to yourself, celebrate yourself.
Celebrating success is indeed important. So, Catherine, thank you. Thank you so much for all you do for CPB, all you do for the community, and all you do to foster and further the benefits of women, which we appreciate very much. So thank you for joining us.
And thank you for the opportunity, Brandt.